When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. I see your lips moving, so please sing along, okay? When I pray, I feel my soul get deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper in my God. Right here, right here, right now, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper in my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When, right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
I know, isn't it lovely? It's wonderful that we are honoring our prayer practitioners today because they get this chance every time you ask them to pray with them to have their heart, their soul go deeper into their God. It is such a delicious, delicious, delicious experience. So thank you for everyone that has ever put in a prayer request. In the back, there's a little box for those of you that like to be anonymous, that don't want to be in a prayer circle or ask for individual help. And so you sneak up very silently and you fill something out and you put it in a box and then you back away like you were never there. Thank you. Because you gave people a chance to pray. For everyone that has come up and said, in a circle, I want to accept this, and there's a group of people around you, not only the prayer practitioner who is guiding it, but everyone around sees you and hears you and believes in you. Thank you for giving them that opportunity. It's a gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for everyone who has participated in a spiritual tune-up, God bless your hearts. because you were so willing to be intimate with someone you may or may not know. You were so willing to say, this is on my heart. It takes a lot of courage to open up to perhaps a stranger about what you long for. That's a huge step. Thank you. Because you give somebody the opportunity to look at you and know that whatever you're going through, you're only going through. Whoa. Just as a practitioner, and by the way, I'm a practitioner. First and foremost, I'm a practitioner. I just have a very large, unwieldy client with lots of demands. But any minister would say they were a practitioner first. We practice knowing that right where you are, God is. It's a practice, a practice, a practice. So we will be appreciating them, but I'm appreciating you who call them forth, who call them out. Really, when you ask for prayer, you're calling them out of sometimes the habit of being human. I was going to say mediocre. But let me just, there was something I put on my Facebook page, and this was from another minister, David Alt, and I'm going to paraphrase him because I don't have it in my mind right now, but he said, fall is the good time to let the leaves of mediocrity fall to the ground. And let me explain what I think is mediocrity. It's having a platitude like we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but it stays at the level of platitude. It hasn't been integrated. That's why, I so love this. When Jesus said, eat of my words, he meant, stop just quoting me. I bet he knew that it wouldn't take very long. He was more of a quote machine than anybody was following him and saying, if he did this, I can do this. That's what I want. I'm going to be out with it. If Jesus did it, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to heal the sick. I want to take suffering away from human condition. I want to put hope back in people's hearts so that they rise up and they live again. Because it's not about raising the dead, because frankly, they're stinky. Or ashes. I mean, how are you going to raise ashes? But how many of you know people who have given up and they're just walking? But it's just not for me. I want to inspire all of us to do that because, frankly, the world needs more of this healing presence and this healing light. But it takes commitment. Oh, commitment. Oh, thank you. You're getting it. I so would love to have a glee service where we would just burst into song because commitment. Oh, okay. You have so made my day. I'm just going to sit down and y'all talk amongst yourselves because I'm having a moment. Thank you. Whoa, I love it. Commitment is our theme for the month, and I'm into it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I've noticed that when I commit to something, something happens. I am now feeling the difference between a hope and a wish, and wouldn't that be nice? And a commitment. And as William H. Murphy said, oh, here he is. Until one is committed, there's hesitancy and a chance to draw back and always ineffectiveness. Actually, how many of you know of an area in your life where you're ineffective? I should see a few hands. Great. Now consider, go inside. Is it from lack of commitment? Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves. How many of you want God to lay out the way and then you'll commit? And you're probably very committed to it. If he sends a schematic and a Gantt chart, timeline, I'll consider it. When you're committed, all sorts of things occur to help one that would have never otherwise would have occurred. I am also dyslexic. I should actually pray to heal that since I've healed everything else. Oh, that's a thought. Okay, you guys, I had a new thought. I can heal dyslexia. It just occurred to me. But this is it. How many of you put up with? How many of you are putting up? I mean, if I'm going to heal dyslexia, what are you going to heal? And I am, because I've healed so many other things. I have healed so much. I was just going through the litany with Reverend Jerry. This and this and this and this and this. So if I can heal this body, which is more solid, why can't I heal the way my brain works? Ooh, this is so cool. See, this is really what I want to get into, because I would love for us to commit to living as though you really were a spiritual being having a human experience. To living it like that. And a lot of us like the idea. How many of you hear it and you go, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. But we keep it at the level of platitude. We throw it out. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And of course you couldn't tell it by my life, but so what? Who is this new person? Gee, no, honestly, I'm listening to myself and going, oh, Kathianne, that's an edge. I don't know. So we go from platitude to practice. Practice it, and I'll give you some practices today. And then you're going to prove it to yourself. You're going to prove it. And your proof will be in the living. In the way that you react differently, in the way that you accept things differently, in the way that you respond differently, in the way that you initiate new thoughts. Just like I had a new thought. I mean, really, you watched me have a new thought. I've done really, here's my badge of honor. I've done really well considering I have dyslexia. How many of you have done really well considering blah, blah, blah? And if it isn't what you were, considering where I came from, considering my ancestry, considering what I was taught. So who'd like to move forward? Great, thank you. If you hadn't raised your hands, I really don't know what I would have done. Except, maybe started praying to heal my dyslexia. Oh. So, here are some things that I would love for us to practice, to be committed to. Be committed to. Committed to practicing. Practicing will perfect these ideas within our soul. But they're not going to get perfected without practice. How many of you have read some things and you read them and you just know they're true, but then you move right along? And you don't let it simmer, you don't let it sit, and then you don't begin to practice. So today is the day, perhaps, that you will shift that. Today's the day, you could say this, because I sometimes ask people to name a date, and this is the day that I overcame that. This is the day I'm no longer influenced by this, by that. And maybe this is the day that you let the leaves of mediocrity fall from your tree of life. And you'll begin by perceiving unity, oneness, and connection, by perceiving it, See, we talk about oneness, and oneness actually is at the core of every religious tradition. At the core, at the mystical core of religious tradition is oneness. The Lord God is one. Then there's all this, circumferences of ideas that come after that with the dogmas and the do thises and the stuff like that, which are supposedly ways to get to the core. But the mystics, when they got there's this only one. It's like, oh, there's only goodness. There's only opportunity. There's only possibility. There's just another way of seeing things that's going on all the time. But we have been seduced, or as Don Miguel Ruiz would say, we've been domesticated. We've been seduced into believing what a lot of people believe. Now, Paul described this in one of the letters to his followers as being the body of Christ. Ernest Holmes said that Christ is God in man, but we know that he didn't mean that. He meant human beings. That was just a metaphor because he was very inclusive. So God in us is the Christ, and all of us are that expression of the Christ in a unique and perfect way. Actually, I was thinking that I would love to do a class on the studies of different religions based on how they express and celebrate that oneness, because it's so important. It also shows up in indigenous cultures, so that indigenous people could honor the land as though it was the mother. Pachamama wasn't just a term. It is our mother. The trees are part of our family, along with the animals and other peoples. All of that was just part of how they were brought up by the ways trees talk. They're very chatty once you get them started. Because there's one life, and it's going to express in multiple, unique, and perfect ways. Now, how do I practice that? What I do, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and you will find your own practice. In fact, that's what I love, is that we don't have dogma. We just throw out ideas, and you're going to find the idea that works for you. But to practice changing the channel from problem and duality and separation from goodness, when any of that starts to happen, changing the channel back to I am seeing the greater reality. Just as I have fingers that do different things, and yet it's part of the same body, I will see situations as looking different. You definitely, guys, look different. And I'm grateful that you look unique, because it would be boring if you all look the same. But I want to see the connection, the unity, the oneness. Because God perceived must create a result. That's why we have this thing on our scientific way of praying. We call it recognition. It's like we try to turn our attention to that one, to recognize it again. And yeah, I could start by saying God is and blah, 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 blah. Not that I would ever. I feel like I'm in the midst of practitioners, and I'm now making fun of the first step of treatment. And I'm not sure that I will make it out of this room alive. But no, just look above my head, and I will be healed. Okay. But I don't have time for that sometimes. I don't have time to search for what I know about God. When I'm really challenged, I have a mantra that just goes off in my head, and that is, I will know only God. Omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. I will know only God. Omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. I'm like calling in all my attention. That part of my mind that wants to go over here to this condition that's bothering me, or this person that needs help, or that person that has this thing going on, or in my body, like this hurts. Man, get me your attention. It's like, I don't care what you want to feel, foot. I will know only God. You know what? Pain that cannot exist when you know God. But it's not think about God, not hope for God, but it's like with all you commit to knowing right in the middle of it, there's only God, and this goes, it works for me. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I do guarantee that if you try this out enough, you're going to find your method to click and change the channel to God, and you will experience something happening. Ernest Holmes said he would rather have people prove these principles than talk about them. Read all the books. What happens when I do that is that somehow my beliefs in separation, duality, scarcity, and not enoughness disappear. Because what holds me back most of the time is my belief that I'm not enough to handle this. And I'm going to speak for myself, and I bet it's for every single practitioner. At some time, you've come to them, and you've presented them with an issue, and what may have gone off in their mind, because it goes off in my mind sometimes when people come to me with a great need, is I haven't the foggiest idea how this could ever work out. Hallelujah. I haven't the foggiest idea. And then something can take over. So once again, thank you for coming to a practitioner, because you draw out of them what they have practiced for so long, and you've helped them make it real. Practice, 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 practice. The recognition of oneness, unity. Practice. Number 2, if you want to really commit your life to being an experience of as a spiritual being instead of just a human being trying to be spiritual, then you need to grasp the importance of affirmative prayer or scientific treatment or scientific prayer or whatever, science of mind treatment, whatever. But I just want to put the science in there because I really like it, because I'm kind of geeky. I love science. I really like science. Scientific to me means that there's a method, there's an observation, which will create a theory that must produce a duplication of results when applied over and over again. Science. So yes, I am woo-woo. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper. You know, I just, I get it. I got the woo-woo part. I love the mushiness of it. I love the feel of connection, and I want a result. I'm a geeky woo-woo person. I invite all of you to be woo-woo geekies or geekily woo-woo. Come and take your Science of Mind textbook with you everywhere and a petri dish and try things out. That's what Ernest Holmes did. He tried things out, and when they worked, he wrote about them. So we try things out. Because it was Emerson who said, we shouldn't have a secondhand God, which is don't believe in a God that somebody else believes in. Don't believe in my God. Believe that I have one, and therefore you can have one. But it's not my God. My version of God is really, you might not even like it. My God laughs a lot and plays tricks. And is always available and heals things. And then laughs. No, it really does laugh a lot. You need to have your own experience, though. Your own experience of that God. But I want to try something out. How many of you have had accidental miracles? Yeah, that means a miracle happened, you don't know how, it just sort of happened. Just like, what? Accidental miracles. For me, one time I was back with the day when we would go to Cabo, on the Baja Peninsula for the 1st of January, and we were doing quads. And I had a bad quad because it kept going over this way. I mean, I couldn't even, it was just going this way, and there was a cliff. And it's like, I can't turn it. And all of a sudden, the engine quit. At the edge, it quit. Yay, I'm here to tell the tale. And I don't know how it happened because I was so afraid I couldn't even say, I know only God. Like, how many of you have had those? And you live to tell the tale. Now, here's the deal. It's like going into a dark room and somehow you are kind of going around and you flip the switch and the light comes on. Miracles happen. But then you go back into that dark room and you're looking for the switch. It's good to know. See, the scientific part of our prayer is we found where the switch is and we know how to turn it on. So that what we call miracles are awesome. They're normal. Thank you for completing my sentence like my husband does. I'm feeling right at home. Anyway. But let's call a miracle also an awesome, not normality, but reality. Something awesome became real, and we want them to be normal all the time, like not unusual. But wouldn't it be great? And this is why we teach those classes and what these people, these practitioners, have studied to do over and over and over again for you, is that when you come in, they know where the switch is. The light shows up. There was a time, we've had so many of them. But here's what I also want you to do, is I want you to practice rehearsing in your head when things worked. Practice in your head rehearsing when things worked. Because just as Jerry was saying, people will talk about what doesn't work 7 times more than they will talk about what does work. We rehearse in our head things that didn't work. I was talking to someone last night, and, after 3 years, I finally said, just write the book. Just write the book. And they went into all the reasons why they couldn't. And besides that, you know what? 30 years ago, I did this, and it didn't turn out. So that's living out of a 30-year-old failure instead of letting the heart move you forward into what the great possibility could be. Now, some of you are nodding your heads. Some of us are the results of our unhealed past instead of being the potential of an awesome experience of God through you. Woof. So one of the things I do is I practice a memory. There was a memory I had. It was in Ecuador. And Ecuador is really high altitude. They say high altitude actually helps for high consciousness. I'm just going to go with that. Because I'd been in my room and I'd been praying and treating, and I was higher than a kite. I mean, like on no coca leaves or nothing, which would have been legal there, by the way. Anyway, but I am high. And I walk out and I come out of the elevator, and way far past this room, but like maybe to the end of our property, there was a group of people. There were 5 of them. And I just knew one of them was complaining about a physical ailment. I just knew it. And then I was like, I'm going to go over and treat. They want me to come over and treat. I went, there is no ailment. There is no ailment. And I walk over there, and the woman said, we were discussing how I was going to come to you and have you pray for me, but it's gone. It's like gone. It's not there anymore. Now, I do not tell you this like, look what Kathianne can do. But look what Kathianne can do. And if I can do it, why do I'm up here because you can do it. But the other reason I'm trying to tell you this is because I need to remember the experience when something worked through me and it didn't even take my working. I need to recall that and recall that and recall that, because I want that to be my normal. You can pay people a lot of money, sports whatevers that help people visualize making the basket. What if every single one of you that are practitioners remember the time when you did the prayer and they were well? And you did the prayer and they were well. And that was so embedded in your consciousness that you welcome anyone to come to you with any condition. Let me at them. We know the importance of affirmative prayer and scientific mental practice or treatment. Then, as far as possible, live what you are thinking and believing as far as possible. If you believe this much, live this much. If you believe this much, live this much. You're not expected to believe out and do out here, but as you grow your mental equivalent of you being a spiritual person and a human experience and body, the more you grow in that, the more you will act in that. You just act like it. And here's the one I'm going to leave with, because then I'm going to turn it over to Jerry. This is my favorite right now. To think, believe, and act as though every problem already has a solution. And that the problem showed up so that you could call forth the solution. So that God in you could reveal itself as something that you hadn't been able to think of before. So that you grow in your experience of the divine in a greater and greater way. So it's like now when I have problems, like, yes, I can't wait to see what we got. There's a solution in here. There is something so great in here. What is the gift in this problem? What is this problem calling me to be? Because if it was Einstein, no problem can be solved at the level of the problem. So the problem has a solution, but it's really calling you to move so far above it that you can dissolve it, not fix it. Now, this is going to be hard. How many of you know that you're semi-addicted to fixing? People, places, things, situations. And how many of you put way too much mental energy on it? And maybe that whole problem was not to be fixed, but was a call to step up. Thank you. The last thing I'm going to leave with is, I'm going to say this too, that when we really can see ourselves as spiritual, we start to understand and then therefore live that we are the light of the world. That we're the breath of fresh air. We're it. Just as you've been around people that suck the living daylights out of a room, how many of you have been around those people? Where's the air? Where's the air? Well, guess what? That can't happen when you know who you are, because light always dispels darkness. Joy always dispels grumpiness. Solution-mindedness always dispels fixing, ain't it awful consciousness. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to preach. You just be it. And the last one I will say is, when we really know we're spiritual beings having a human experience, we suit it up. Let's get the most out of it. Really. As Ram Dass said, we're human. Enjoy the curriculum. Enjoy it. Now, I used to enjoy things. I was a fun person. I really was. I was a really fun person. I was. And then I went back to Eugene and was around some of my friends, and I was such a grumpy puss because I was a minister now. And I had been called to some serious stuff. I mean, how many of you do that? And do you understand that might be why some of the people, when you're doing what Reverend Jerry said, which is, tell people about the Center for Spiritual Living, they go, oh, church. You have a lot of music, it's really fun, and then you have to admit you're a sinner and you're going to hell. Some people believe that. It's not bad, and let them let them find out they're not going. It'll be fun. I want to be there. Yeah. But what if heaven's now? Heaven is here. There's a wonderful video that Jerry shared with the Prac 3 group, and it was, heaven is now when your mind is clear. And therefore, what do you think heaven would be? Let it be now. Let it be joyful. Let it be fun. I watched myself and decided to change the channel to fun and joy. Fun and joy, enthusiasm. It's and I'm still doing the same ministry. You can still be the same parent. You can be the same child. You can go to the same job. But you've changed the channel. You can go through the same condition that you're going through. You can go through your healing, through your revealing, through your problem elimination. I'm never going to say problem solving again. But it can be for fun, for the joy of it. You know, we're going into the Christmas season. Joy to the world. It'll never happen. Because we're a bunch of grumps. We make fun of everything. And we hate everyone. And they're all going to hell. And they're all going to hell. And we are the only ones. So, my dears, come back often and let's just have some fun. Here's Reverend Jerry.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, yeah, follow that. But I will admit that I had to get over that idea that, a minister was like my dad, God forbid, or like all the Baptist preachers that I'd sit through revival with. I had to get over that and go, all right, if you're calling this, you're going to get all of it. Because I can't filter it. So my title here, besides fun maker, is Minister of Prayer and Care for the Practitioners. But really, as Kathianne said, I'm just the practitioner to the practitioners. We have 57, soon to be 58, just some paperwork, practitioners. That's a lot. 58. And once a year, we like to single a few folks out for a milestone achievement that our organization recognizes and bestows a lovely pin that I have this time for the practitioners. And it really is, it's commitment. It's commitment to yourself first, to go, I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep looking for God right here where I am. And I'm going to find it. And then I'm going to help other people find it, because if I can find it, anybody can find it. That's what they're doing. And they teach, and they are assistant teachers, and they hold prayer circles and one-on-one prayers and tune-ups. Like Kathianne was saying, it's just, they're here because something's happened for them. And they want to be that place where they know it can happen for you. So I'd like to invite up our special kids today, Ray Hool, Jane Shearer, Jennifer Bundy, and Shemaim Elohim. Come on up. Don't be shy. Look what love did. Come on up, you. There you go. So, Jane, Ray, and Jennifer have been serving you and serving their God for 10 years. For all the love and all the prayers, for your high consciousness, and for your dedication and love of this community, I thank you. Now, Miss Shemaim, she gets the special award. Our organization recognizes commitment in a big way, and after 20 years, right? Say it again, wow. You become practitioner emeritus. And I want you to know that we have, as of last month, there you are, my darling. As of last month, we have 8 practitioners that are emeritus. And one of those, I realized this morning, my dear Ann Bach. I hope you're watching, dear. Dang. She's got a giggle for God. Man, does she know joy. I realized this morning she's been serving for 40 years. Right? I love practitioners. I love being a practitioner. It's my favorite part of my job. I would like to have all the practitioners here stand up. Come on now. Stay standing. Go on, Taffy. Stand up, girl. I have a special blessing for you and for you. They get to hear it twice. This is called We Are Precious Jewels in the Crown of Spirit by Julia Cameron. Each of us is unique, valuable, worthy, and irreplaceable. Each of us is kind, wise, knowing, and gifted. Each of us is filled with dignity, gifted with humor, funded with strength. We are met as equals. We're met as equals. We bear gifts for each other. Our hearts are true friends, true colleagues. We have a place with each other. We have a need for each other. All of us seek the same answers, although we find them by different routes. All of us hold the same questions, although we express them in different ways. Our loving hearts hold all the solutions all of us seek. This is a great blessing and an indisputable fact. In loving each other, we love the world. In loving each other, we find the world. The world we find is healed by our loving hearts. Thank you for all you do, for all the ways you show up in person, online, in consciousness, in your heart, at the grocery store, at Costco. We all know what that means. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service. Give them a round of applause. Give them a big woohoo.